One of the things that people have been dealing with for the last 15 years is, not having access to their basic human need for food. We had 2 grocers here at one time, right across the street from each other. They left within a short time span of each other.
I, for the life of me, could not understand how so many grocery store chains could abandon an entire section of the city. And I was one of the first people to try to bring together a coalition of partners to bring one back. And I wasn't able to be successful, unfortunately.
When the markets closed, it was just devastating.
I see it as our right to have a grocery store on this side of town. What makes us any different than any other side of town?
First there was Great American that left this spot, then the Grand Union closed. And then with that you also saw the deterioration of the neighborhood.
Probably the biggest disappointment we had early on was in 2006, we thought for sure that we had a store with a location, lease ready to go, loan ready to go to the Binghamton Local Development Corporation. The mayor, in fact, had planned in his January 2007 State of the City address to make that announcement, and we were all elated about it. And at the very last minute, when it came down to actually signing the lease,
The landlord who lives in New Jersey reneged on the deal.
One group that said they were going to do it, we called them to the table, and they basically backed out. So then we knew we had to kind of go on our own.
the Binghamton Plaza is owned by a large development company based in New Jersey. The Binghamton Plaza was actually one of their first and very successful projects, and it kind of launched the company, which makes it all that much sadder that 30 or 40 years later, it's fallen into disrepair, and it's very challenging for anyone to be able to do anything there.
Binghamton and surrounding towns, Endicott and Johnson City, were once known as the Valley of Opportunity. The area gave birth to IBM and the Lynx flight simulator. But with the closing of high-tech industry in the late 80s and early 90s, the economy took a dive.
All Rust Belt cities in the Northeast are really struggling. We used to have great industry here, and we know that a lot of that industry has left not only the Northeast, but a lot of areas of our country.
As jobs leave the area, major employers are going, the economic conditions change, so the markets leave as well. That Grand Union also was a WIC, Women, Infants, and Children program supermarket. WIC provides low-fat milk and low-fat cheese, peanut butter, things that are important for a young child's diet. Now we don't have a WIC store close by on the north side, so that was a tremendous loss.
Well, I mean, we've had mom and pop sort of grocery stores, the ones where people would go in, even from the early 1900s, where people would go in and give their order, and they'd go back of the store and pick out the food items and bring them to the forefront, put them in bags for for their customers.
What I've found is, as of 2009, there are about 50 million people who are food insecure, and about a third of those are children.
For it is only with today's food that tomorrow's citizens can grow healthy.
I'm originally from Sierra Leone in West Africa. What we've found, for instance, is that the outcome of food insecurity is seen in terms of stunting, where the kids are shorter for their age, or sometimes these kids are extremely thin. And then we move to the United States, where individuals or families that may not have economic access or the geographic access to food. And those are the ones that we characterize as the food deserts. Obesity is one of the outcomes that we find here instead of wasting or stunting.
Through our pantry system, Cal serves about 3,500 people a month, and the soup kitchen is probably another 3,000 a month. This stuff here we packed up last night. It's a backpack program which goes out to elementary school kids. So we did about 600 packs last night. Let's see, some of the things we put in last night, there was pudding, plastic jars of peanut butter. There was some cereal, tuna fish, some granola bars and grains and stuff like that. Little individual box juices and little fruit cups that they can have breakfast. They can make a sandwich and stuff like that.
So it's considered something for the kid to eat, not necessarily for the whole family.
Just for the child, right? We're the only agency that does food recovery in Broome County. Otherwise, all this food, the stuff, the special stuff that's in the freezers and coolers, would have been thrown out. The thing we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years is an increase of families coming to soup kitchens. So, you know, like working mothers with small children, young people who for one reason or another aren't working.
I'd say most of the like non-perishable stuff comes from Chow, and we usually have a lot of good stuff that comes from 2 of the health food stores in Binghamton. We have folks that collect it for us.
And we also had some veggies recently that came from the urban farm, stuff that was gleaned that couldn't be sold.
I mean, we collect food from Chow, but it's actually their Broome Bounty program. It's a food recovery program.
And I mean, it is a great program because it takes food that would have gone into the dumpster and it gets it before it goes in. Unfortunately, there are still a lot of stores that refuse to do that.
We're getting more established in the community, and people know where we are, and they you know, do food drives for us and stuff. I see more people coming who have come here by word of mouth. They know what they like, but they know it's all vegetarian and vegan.
Not being able to get food hurts a lot of people that live in this area. I miss the giant market. That's why I come to places like this. I go to a place at least twice a week, sometimes 3. And this is by far the one that has the greatest menu.
There are 5 community gardens, and then we have the Binghamton Urban Farm Project, which is located on Tudor Street. We have volunteers managing the site, growing food that we're selling at farmers markets at the farm stand on site, and also we're making food available, you know, for trade. So if people don't have money but they have some time to put into the site, they can get some vegetables in exchange. It's $15 for a bed for the entire year, and we also have some scholarships. So if someone would like a bed but can't afford the $15, we have the ability to give it to them for free. And in exchange for all of the garden members, we ask for some time volunteered back into the garden to keep it going. So we have a community bed. We have planted that with a variety of herbs and vegetables, and anyone can take from that garden. I grew up on a farm about an hour away from here, and we raised sheep and had a lot of vegetables that we were growing. My parents were really into self-sufficiency. But then I came down here for school over 12 years ago now. I left for grad school, came back, and I actually bought a house just a few blocks away from here, partially because this was here. If you were really intense about growing your food, you could probably, you know, produce if you had maybe 2 plots, you could produce maybe half of the fruits and vegetables that you might be consuming. We work with the kids throughout the summer to learn about how to grow food and also to involve them in the planting, the harvesting, and at the Lee Barta Center we did some cooking with them too so that they could eat some of the things that came out of the garden. Kids are a little bit more adventurous and are willing to try things if they're involved in growing it themselves.
We think that urban farming, it's been being done in a lot of larger cities, and you know, I just think it's a great way not only to teach people about where their food comes from, especially young people who really never get to know about where a lot of people in the urban center have never visited a farm, never know anything about getting their hands on the soil and learning about good, healthy, nutritious food. And I think, you know, an urban economy built around food is very possible.
We need a store in this area. We need someplace where we can shop. As human beings, we need to help each other. I mean, that's a big thing that we need to do.
It's truly not just a matter of having a place to go shopping. It's a recognition, honestly, that they exist. They matter. There's food available.